Hi, I'm Toni and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, please make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit a thumbs up and ring that little bell for me. So today we're going to do my deck update as of April 2020. As you guys know, if you've been here before, I am trying to alter my deck to make it as strong as possible, and these are the improvements I've made since my last update. So we'll start off with my monsters. I run 2 Vanadis. Vanadis is kind of a cool gal. She can be used for material for any Nordic synchro as per her effects, and also when you send a monster to the graveyard, her level becomes equal to that. So obviously that's really useful for when you're trying to get your bigger monsters out, because her level 4 here doesn't always apply if you don't need it to. So I then run 3 Alvis. Alvis is kind of a good card if you run Golvik, which you should be if you're running this deck, because when obviously you're getting Golvik out and you banish a card, this guy you can banish the 1 and you can get out you can send 2 from your deck to the graveyard and use the 1 that you've special summoned for banishing him on the field, and that allows you to get out a Nordic synchro monster, which obviously is fantastic. And this little guy's second effect is that when you banish him from the graveyard, that allows you to get an ACM monster out, which is again a great way to make sure you've got a nice strong field. I run 2 Golfax. Golfax is another really good card, I think. He is fantastic for being special summoned if your opponent controls synchro monsters and you do not. You can special summon him from your hand. He is also a great tuner for getting Thor out, as he is a Nordic beast. And obviously Thor I always like to pull out first because he negates all face-up effects. I apologise in advance for how I pronounce this, but this is as good as you're going to get it. But this guy is Tangrasnir. Tangrasnir makes two level Nordic monsters with no attack and no defense when he is destroyed by a battle. He is also great material for synchro summoning and is one of my favourite cards because he is very, very useful. The next guy. I run 2 of him for a very similar reason as I do the previous one. This is Tanjoston, as far as I can understand how to say his name. If this monster is destroyed by battle, you can summon this card, and when it's changed from defense to attack, you can special summon 1 Nordic beast from the deck to the field in defense position, which is a great way, again, to get more monsters out in order to make your bigger monsters. I run 1 Myanmar. And Myanmar, if I control a Nordic monster and this is in my graveyard, I can send a spell from my hand and special summon this card back, which again, great reasoning. I run 2 Rescue Cats. This guy is also very useful for this deck because it can be quite slow at times, and this guy helps me get monsters out from my deck in order to get my stronger monsters out, and again get that stronger board. I run 2 Valkyries. Valkyrie again, I didn't quite use her properly at the start, but now I know how to use her. She is a gem. When she is normal summoned and I control no monsters, but this one and my opponent controls monsters, I can banish 2 Nordic monsters from my hand and special summon 2 tokens, which are level 4 and 1000 attack and defense each, which again is great summoning out some Xyz monsters and things like that. And also she can be used as sync material for Odin, which again, always a great card to have out. I run 2 Yosefs, which are these guys. Yosef, when normal summoned, can target 1 face-up monster I control and special summon 1 Nordic monster with a level equal to or lower than this card. Again, not really much of an asset to this deck, but for now, he's very useful for me. I run 1 Smoltef. Smoltef, again, great card. When he is normal summoned, I can target 1 Nordic card in my graveyard and add it to my hand. And I run 1 Firebrand Hymnist. She is a pretty new addition to my deck, but basically when I normal summon her, I can send cards from the top of my opponent's deck to the graveyard equal to the number of cards that they control. and this helps me mill their deck and avoid cards that I might not want. And also, if I special summon this, I can send cards from the top of mine into my graveyard if they need to be there, which again is a great effect for this card. So these are the monsters I run. Just put these guys to the side. Okay, so my spells. I run quite a lot of spells at the minute, which I know is not very common, but hopefully that will be changing soon enough. So the first card I run for my spells is Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn allows me to target one monster in either graveyard and special summon it. He's not obviously exclusive to this deck, and quite a lot of people use him. Dark Hole, another great card, allows me to destroy all monsters on the field, which if I've drawn really badly and I've got some really shocking things on the field, or I have no monsters on the field, allows me just to wipe the whole thing. Very similar to Dark Hole, I have Raigeki, which means that I can destroy all my opponent's cards without destroying mine. So if I've got a strong side, my opponent will obviously have no cards, obviously making them more vulnerable. I run one Terraforming, which allows me to add one field spell from my deck to my hand, allowing me to get the next card out, which is Nordic Lights in my case. Nordic Lights, great card for Nordics. It protects all my Nordic cards, except if it is destroyed, in which case all my face-up Nordics. All my face-up Nordics are destroyed in the process, which obviously pros and cons. I run 3 Twin Twisters. This allows me, when I discard a card, to destroy 2 spell or trap cards. Field Barrier protects my Nordic Lights from being destroyed, which obviously is ideal for them protecting my other Nordic monsters. I run 1 Deck Lockdown. This means for 2 goes, neither player can special summon. Obviously this has its good sides and its bad sides, in the sense that if I have set up my board and I'm very happy with it, I can play this card and it prevents my opponent from doing that as well. And I run 1 Pot of Avarice. This basically stops my deck being milled, which it has been known to do in a couple of games I've played, and means that I can return 5 cards from my graveyard, 5 monsters, sorry, from my graveyard back to my deck and shuffle them in, and then I can draw 2 cards, which again just stops me getting milled and allowing me to pull more monsters out. So they are my spells. And then I run some traps as well. These guys are pretty cool in the sense that I run 2 Grandman Piers, something like that. I apologise again for any pronunciation I have said wrong. These help me get my Nordic monsters to my hand quicker in order to get Synchro monsters out. Again, a great one for Nordics. I run 2 Nordic Lights Limited. And this means that I can destroy 1 face-up monster which has destroyed one of my monsters by battle this turn. Obviously there is a similar variation of this where you have to banish a card in order to do that, but this card just allows me to do it. And I run 2 Compulsory Evacuations. This means that I can target 1 monster on the field and return it to the hand or the extra deck, depending on the card itself. So yeah, these guys are pretty good for traps as far as they go. I am very aware that traps can be quite slow, and I am working on that element. So the last part of my deck is my extra deck. The extra deck is obviously a very important part for this deck in particular. So I run 3 Odins. Odin is a fantastic guy. He can't be affected by spell or traps once per turn, and also if you have to special summon him from the grave because he's been destroyed by my opponent, I can banish a Nordic Ascendant, Tuner, and then draw 1 card, which again, pros and cons to that, but it means that I have 1. I can always bring him back. I run 2 Thors. I arguably think Thor can be a bit more important, so if you want to run 3 of him, some people do. At the moment I don't, for various reasons, but you can do. Thor once per turn can negate all face-up monsters' effects, and if he does end up in the graveyard, I can banish a Nordic Beast and he returns, and my opponent takes 800 life points. Again, great effect. I also run 1 Stardust Dragon. This Stardust Dragon, in order to activate his sort of effects, I can send him to the graveyard, and that means I can basically negate the activation of a spell, trap, or monster's effect in this turn, and that in turn destroys that card. I run Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon. This guy is made up of 2 level 4 monsters that when detached from this card can target one face-up monster, half its attack, and that half of the attack is gained by this card. That basically means he's stronger and can destroy that card. I also run this guy. I am struggling to think how to say his name at this very second in time, but let's just say he's Emmanuel, because I like to call him that. I'm very aware that is not his name. And this guy again is made up of 2 level 4 monsters, which when you remove one of these materials can either cause you to target 2 monsters in your graveyard and shuffle them into your deck, allowing you to draw 1 card, or it can target 1 non-effect monster in the graveyard and special summon this card. Okay, onto my link monsters, which I have a few of them. I have 1 Nightmare Cerberus. This Nightmare Cerberus, when it is link summoned, allows me to discard 1 card to destroy an opponent's card and then draw a card if it was co-linked. I run 1 Nightmare Phoenix. Nightmare Phoenix, if it was link summoned, allows me to discard 1 card and target 1 spell or trap card and destroy it. If this card was co-summoned, I can draw 1 card. I run 1 Nightmare Griffin. Griffin basically means that if I discard 1 card, I can bring 1 spell or trap back to my field, and if it was co-linked, again, draw 1 card. And I run 1 Nightmare Unicorn. This Nightmare Unicorn allows me to discard a card in return, and in turn return 1 card of my opponent's to the deck. So this can be either spell, trap, or monster, and if I do so, and if it's co-linked, I can draw 1 card. It also has the effect that if it was co-linked in the normal draw phase, I can, instead of just drawing the 1 card, I can draw as many cards as there are Nightmare monsters co-linked to this card. And most importantly, for any Nordic deck, I run 3 Golvigs. Golvig is by far my favourite link monster I run. She is the best way to get my ACM monsters out by banishing cards, again like I said with Alvis earlier, and if this card is linked to an ACM monster, the ACM monster can't be targeted by card effects and Golvig can't be targeted for attack, which again is fantastic. Again, if my Nordic Lights are there protecting her, it protects Golvig as well, meaning she can't be destroyed by battle, but she can't be attacked anyway, so it's an all in all very, very good card. So yeah, this is my deck profile for Nordics as of April 2020. If you have any comments or can tell me how to pronounce certain one's names correctly, please do so in the comments. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, ring that bell and give me a good thumbs up. Thank you, I've been Toni.